about the brain.
Uh-huh.
And they were basically talking about how if you multitask, you're actually not. You're being you're 40% inefficient in how many mistakes you make. And it was kind of actually a lot of it was echoing some of what you said, but quite different. Anyway, so I put my computer away and listened.
Good. Well, thank you, Lynn. We're live, by the way. Welcome, everyone, to our session.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we go live at the top of the hour, mid-sentence. That's good. That could be some good content. That could be the breakthrough that somebody needs right there. So thank you, Lynn. Good to see you. And everyone who's tuning in, John Lavenia here with you. I do have, what do I have to announce for today? Nothing. I don't have nothing to announce for today, except that I'm still in my gym clothes because I've just been working business deals all day. So whatever. So much for aesthetics. Looking at our calendar, we're good. All right. So everything's good. But Lynn, what you were just talking about, this idea or this misnomer of multitasking, there are, like right now, this computer I'm talking to you on right now has, I think, 8 cores, so 8 CPUs built into one. So that would be a multitasking type, scenario. I don't know if I have 8 cores. I mean, I know I have one, right? And so when I multitask, it's really just me shifting my attention from this to that, to this to that, to this to that. Now, we can do that. And sometimes that's necessary, hey, busy mom, and the business and this and that. But the anatomy of anything that I've ever succeeded at, or that you've ever succeeded at, is that you completed it. So, right. So if we are multitasking, which is not optimal, in other words, we're moving our attention, here and there, as long as we can not abandon the cycle that was in process over here, we must come back to it. We must complete it. So that's where, and a lot of times I need to create order. If I do need to go off task and do something else, I need to create order. So I remember that's what I was working on. Anybody ever been in a situation where you went into a room, you walked down the hallway, you went into a different room in your house, and you forgot why you went into that room? Yes. I did that as recently as yesterday. I was like, what? I came in here for something, and then I go back, and then I make it almost all the way back, and I'm like, that's what I was there for. And then I go all the way back. Okay, so we've all had that experience, I think. Okay, great. I'm not the only crazy person. All right. So in that, I mean, imagine that with things of more consequence, right? So, all right. So it cost you however long it took you to walk down the hall 2 more times. Okay. But what about all these other things that we leave undone or that we forget and that end up, incomplete? I will tell you, my friends, imperfect and done beats perfect and not done, which is another conversation altogether. But just considering that if we just commit to completing everything that we do, whether we can do it in one sitting or if we do have to abandon that for a time, at least having that written, having that on the calendar, having a battle plan, which is in some ways what I'm going to be talking with you about here today. The topic or the title of our talk is the Prosperity Prevention Department. I think we're going to have fun with this one. But the idea that, certainly you don't want to be preventing your own prosperity. And one thing you can do to make sure you're not manning the prosperity prevention department is to have a plan. As the old saying goes, if you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. So have a plan and just know that if it's worth putting on your calendar, it's worth taking to completion. Which brings me to the main thing I wanted to talk with you about today. I had a conversation, believe it or not, with another person. Happens all the time. And this person, have you ever experienced someone who had so many reasons why they couldn't decide, they couldn't act, they couldn't move, get off of, the inertia or get out of their own way? Have you ever had that conversation with somebody else? I'm not talking about yourself, because none of us have ever done that. But have you ever observed that third party? Here's this person who, no matter how good the runway looks and no matter how red the carpet is that's been rolled out for them, they cannot walk down it. They got lots of reasons. They don't have the results they want, but they have lots of reasons. Of course, we've been able to observe this when things seem so obvious to us, and yet for the uninitiated, right? It's like, well, and you could probably even see this like in parenting and stuff. Okay, all this is not probably a good metaphor, but I mean, if you know stuff because of your years and decades of experience that your child doesn't know, you would, and you do, communicate with them with an air of authority. That doesn't mean you're an authoritarian. That just means that I know and I'm instructing you, and now, do what I'm telling you to do. Right? That sort of thing. But you don't have that authority, let's say, with a customer, with a business associate, with, someone else who you're, with the same good intentions as you would with your child. You're attempting to help them get somewhere where they said they wanted to get in life and business and whatever, but they just can't get out of their own way. And you don't have a parenting role in that situation. So you're just going to, you got to grant them their space to do what they're going to do and just kind of observe. Now, as a person who's been engaged in the sales and marketing world and essentially inducing decision on the part of people for as long as I have, right? That's what sales and marketing is routing people towards a decision, a buying decision, or, a selling decision, and, to participate or not, to enroll or not. Well, as a person who's been engaged in that, what I find is that the people who get on with it, the people who I most like to partner with, and the people who are typically most successful in getting things done, like we already talked about, completing what you start, are the people with a good amount of intention and not so much counter intention. So I want you to think about this as it relates to anything that you're tackling in your life. Or like in the example I just gave of the person who can't get out of their own way, right? So yeah, here's the intention, here's what I want, and here's all the reasons why I can't, I probably shouldn't, maybe, I don't know, considerations, procrastination, indecision, stop. Yesterday, Glenn talked about just keep moving, right? How to overcome significant challenges in life. And the reminder that I got out of all that is that all of my answers come when I'm in action. So like the old saying, you can't steer a parked car, right? So drive, right? Do something, and then you can optimize, you can steer. Okay. But if we're perpetually stopped or professionally stopped, we are actually manning the prosperity prevention department in our own lives. Just like the person that you've observed who, with all their reasons and considerations and counter intentions, cannot engage, right, for what they purportedly want, right? But they hold themselves back again and again. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, and we can enumerate them, and people can certainly recite, lots of their reasons, their considerations. Really, what this comes down to, excuse me, really what this comes down to, and I've got my vitamin C drink here. Very nice. Really what this comes down to is who's attempting to make the decision. The who, which precedes the what. Okay, so what are we going to do or not do? Well, who's going to do it, right, or not? That's the primary consideration. Who's going to do it? Now, there have been multiple books written on psychology and the psychology of sales and decision making and success, and all the different things which we all pretty much agree that we would like to have increase and prosperity in our lives. And one of the things that I keep coming back to when I think about what causes people to succeed or not, to buy or not, to engage or not, to persist or to quit, to be their own best ally or their own worst enemy, what is it about this whole, it's a big topic, okay, but if we could boil it down to one observable phenomenon, it would be what I would call their chronic emotional state. Their chronic emotional state. So I want you to think about, we're all in business to some degree, even if you're working a job, right? You've sold your services to your employer, right? So there are transactions that have been made. There have been agreements that you've been able to secure, right? So there has been cooperation with people in your life. I want you to think about just pick any example of someone that you're communicating with, and they're, yes, agree. I'm excited, right? That sounds good. Let's do it, right? So picture that sort of a scenario. And now with the same data, right? The same offer, the same opportunity, the same product for sale, whatever it happens to be. Now picture someone who's like, well, I'm not sure. I got to think about it yet, but what about that? Hold on a second. Right. So now same exact data or offer or opportunity, two completely different perspectives of it. One person, we could say, assuming what's being offered is beneficial, right? You're not giving them a scorpion or something, right? Here's something good, something you want. Okay. So the first person experiences it differently than the other person. They experience it with, we could say, a higher emotional response, enthusiasm, excitement, exhilaration, bliss. I mean, I don't know if you get that high. Okay. But that's, enlightenment or whatever, but we've got elevated emotional states. And on this side, we have suppressed or reduced emotional states, concern, anxiety, fear, anger, grief, antagonism. Same data, different responses. So it really does come down to who are you offering this to? Okay. And now, of course, we can turn the tables and we can see for ourselves, how do we perceive opportunities, offers, products, whatever. I'm going beyond just personal preference. I like the black one. You like the white one. Okay. So buy whichever one you want. We're not just talking about personal preference kind of stuff. We're talking about how we actually perceive opportunities that could advance ourselves in our life. So the main consideration then is, who is it that's showing up and that's experiencing the offer, the sales pitch, the opportunity to do something? If it's the person who is most often, or I could say chronically, in the emotional state of, well, nothing really works. Everything's a scam. I'm not sure. I gotta think about it. And, all of that inner talk, which comes out of their mouth too, it's revealed by their external dialogue, but all of that, that reticence to be a decisive person and to move, right? They want to keep steering the parked car. All of that resistance to movement reveals who that person is at the core. Now, Napoleon Hill, in his classic book, Think and Grow Rich, talked about how the irrefutable fact, that every successful person who had amassed a fortune over $1 million, this was written back in the 1930s, okay, but it revealed the fact that every one of them had formed the habit of reaching decisions promptly and of changing those decisions slowly, if ever. Unsuccessful people, without exception, thousands of them that he studied, without exception, take a long time to ever make a decision, if they ever make one, and they change their minds quickly and often. So one personality, we could say the person who's about advancement, prosperity, enthusiastic about achieving goals and what have you, and movement, right? Like Glenn talked about yesterday, just keep moving. So that person has a completely different operating strategy. They're much more decisive and prompt than the person who is in a state of perpetual stop. Move, stop. Enthusiasm, fear. Kinetic energy, potential, or suppressed energy. The interesting thing is that it's the same energy. Now, we've also seen, I have, people who, when their operating strategy has failed them enough and often enough and severely enough, where they snap out of it. They become a different person just due to a high necessity level. It's like, you know what? my way sucks, and so enough, just enough. In fact, it wasn't even my way. They get like a cognition, a spiritual awakening. It's like, holy crap, I've been living my mother's life, my Uncle Bob, right? I've been indoctrinated into something, but it didn't even serve them. It didn't even serve them. Look at the fruits. By their fruits, you'll know them. Look, is that the fruit? Is that it? Well, I'm out. And we leave the herd. Now, people can do this, and they usually only do this when their motivation level is high enough, typically because their back is right against the wall and they can no longer defend their position or assert their rightness about their methods, their ways, their beliefs, their whatever they think. And I've been through this several times in my own life, okay, where I was the prosperity prevention department, okay, where I couldn't hear you. I couldn't see the opportunity. As the saying goes, they have eyes to see, but see not, right? So, and have we not all been in that sort of a position in some stages in our life? You see, there is, excuse me, there is a gradient of prosperity, okay, just like a mountain. And sometimes people will, you've all heard the saying, too good to be true, right? So let's say that we have something that is really good, like a really good offer, but where they're at, down at the bottom of the mountain, all they could see is the sticks and weeds and stuff. They can't even see this high up the mountain. So in their perception, it would be a too good to be true sort of a scenario. Anyway, I had this exact sort of a situation yesterday where I got a lot of maybes, and maybes are crazy, okay? But I got a lot of maybes from somebody who I was attempting to assist. And so don't think, Lindsay, Catherine, right, Daisy, everybody, don't think that, John never gets this, that, oh, John's, whatever, a unicorn or something. No, I get to deal with the public too. Okay, I get to deal with this. But this person could not get out of their own way, no matter how good, no matter how well explained. Like there was no communicating to this person, because their filters, they would filter out and deflect any solution. Here's the punchline. They love their situation. They're in love with, they're in resonance with, they resonate with, they're on that frequency with their current circumstances, situation, current reality, which we could say is lackluster. So how dare I say, you know what, it's actually quite simple to exponentially increase your results in this way. Here's the mechanisms we could do it. Here's all that. That's not real for them. That's not real. Now, we've talked about this before in our sales training conversations. Anytime you get in communication with someone about something that's real for them, they tend to like you more, right? I mean, that's very predictable. It's like, oh, this person hears me, they understand me, we're on the same page, we're in resonance. Okay, now we're on the same frequency. But if you go too high up if you raise the frequency too high, it's not real anymore. Now, it's all on a continuum. And of course, we're reading right now in our book study group, Bob Proctor's You Were Born Rich, and he's going to be talking with you a bit about this whole idea of kind of like colors of the rainbow. It's all the spectrum of one, light source. Okay. But they're all connected. There's no specific line where you could say, well, that color is different than that color. It all kind of blends together. Same with frequencies, right? There's frequencies and sub-frequencies, and being a ham radio operator, I know a bit about that, but you can break this stuff down and they kind of can cross over, right? You got to kind of get some spacing between, these channels. Otherwise they're going to be talking to each other, right? Because they're all kind of connected. It's all the same truth. It's all the same, ether that we're working with, right? We're just attempting to tune into segments of that. So here on the frequency, or here on the mountain grade, right? There's this, and then there's that, and that's different. That's different than that. They're all connected. It's all the same mountain, but you see what I'm saying? So what we've got to do sometimes, if we're seeking to assist someone in getting out of their own way, is meet them where they're at and just a little bit higher, just a little bit higher. It may sound weird to some of you who are hard charging and yeah, I mean, look, right now, if I if I said to any of you, whatever your goals are, like your big goals, right? Not the little 30, 90-day goals, right? But like your 5-year goal. if I could say, click this button and you've got it, who wouldn't? Would any of you say, no, you know what? I want to, just kind of take my time or whatever. No, you would click the friggin' button. Okay. Now that button doesn't exist, by the way, but if it did, you would probably click it. If I could convince you that it was real. Okay. So that's the other, and by the way, I'm not going to convince you of that because I have integrity and I'm not going to give you an easy button. They don't exist. But the idea that you could show someone exponential increase with their situation, it would occur as just as unreal to them as clicking an easy button. So what we've got to do sometimes, and this is especially good for anyone who's attempting to refer or enroll someone into, let's say, for example, the business opportunity space. So here is a way to make money. All right. Well, right there, just with the indoctrination that's gone through much of society, where money is bad, or it's good and pious or something to be poor as a church mouse, or anything that get rich quick, or whatever their stories are about it. Can you kind of tone that down? Okay, yeah, it may really produce. It may be producing for you right now, $500,000 a year, $1 million, whatever you're making with these methods. Okay, but can you kind of like lower the heat on that a little bit, just so you can meet them where they're at and show them, yeah, you can probably make 10,000. Okay, so that's true for them. All right. So what we're attempting to do when we are attempting to assist people and ourselves. So I'm going to turn this back around on ourselves here in just a minute. But what we're attempting to do when we're attempting to serve others is meet with them where they're at and just a little bit higher. Just a little bit higher. If they're fearful, then see how you can bring them just a little bit not so fearful. Reassure them. Security, it's nice, and don't get too crazy. Don't get too jumping up and down here. Okay. But just, this is possible, right? We can do little bits. We can help with that situation. Okay. So just a little bit higher. And as you raise people up, they cooperate more. But if you raise them way up, they're out, right? They're back to the prosperity prevention department, manning their desk. Okay. How do we turn this around and how do we make this serve us? Here's what I think we need to do. So here's your big goal. Let's say a 5-year goal, which is not real for you, as real as, let's say, a 30-day goal. You've got, there's the gradient, right? So I can see that shrubbery over there. That's only 100 yards up, right? I can't see the one that's, 3 miles up. It's behind the rock. I can't see that high. Okay. So what we need to do is make stuff more real for us. So it's actually what I like the word accessible. Like I can touch it. Right? That's real. It's palpable. And so can we break down our big goals, these big lofty things that we're going after, those things that are on your dream board, or those things that you carry around in your goal card or on your phone. I think I mentioned last week, I've got a note in my notes application. And the note is titled auto suggestion. And anytime I could just click on auto suggestion and read my goals. And I've got several affirmative statements on there as well. Reminders. And every time I put those ideas into my mind as reminders, because my memory works pretty good, but it's not infallible. I remember emotionally. I emotionally remember, what that's like, right? So that makes it more real for me. I also include in my auto suggestion. I also include that which I intend to deliver in exchange. That makes it more real for me too. Can you see? All right, so you can't see the top of the mountain, but you can see, as far as the actions that you will, in terms of service that you're going to provide, right? The things that you're going to do to get to the top of the mountain. If we were literally walking up the mountain, we know that those actions are, stepping and using your body and, drinking water and, having some. If you're in the desert, right, you better have some salt and some carbohydrates and stuff. But you can kind of plan this out, and you can see yourself in the actions of summiting the mountain. So part of our self-talk and the reminders that we give ourselves should include real plans, right, and real actions Because once again, if we fail to plan, we're planning to fail. So these are the actions that I intend to deliver with the greatest quality and quantity and into the marketplace in the capacity of such and such, right? And whatever you do for business, whatever you do to exchange with the world, to receive that recompense, right? The money, which is going to allow you to live the life that you choose to live at the top of the mountain, right? With the Lamborghinis and the yachts and whatever you're into, right? So while the yacht might not be real for you, the actions that it would take to get to the yacht are real. Everything we can do to bring reality closer to us. In other words, to load our guns mentally, okay, with enough real actionable vision that we no longer remain in our own prosperity prevention department. In other words, you need to buy this. You need to buy this. The person who can't get out of their own way, they didn't buy. Obviously, right? How often has that been you? How often has that been me? Where I didn't buy my own prosperity. I mean, it sounds nice. I mean, that would be nice, but can't get out of my own way, man. I mean, look, this is what's real. Don't you know there's problems, there's limitations? Look at the circumstances. My goodness, under these conditions, you see, it's so easy. It's so easy to just go into agreement with conditions and circumstances and whatever. But it takes real thought to craft the vision and to sell it to yourself with as much evidence as you can that not only is it attainable, but you've already got ideas and plans in place, actionable things that, yes, are moving you up the mountain. They are. No, you're not at the top yet. I got it. Okay, but the top is still real. It's there. You can't see it yet, but it's there. But the fact that we're moving, we can observe answers in our own life infinitely more than the person who stopped or chronically stopped or professionally stopped. In other words, we're no longer in a maybe. I'm not saying that every action you're going to take is going to, be the most fruit-bearing, amazing, breakthrough shit in the universe. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But the fact that you're moving is evidence that you're doing infinitely better than the person who's sitting there in a chronic state of maybe, indecision, stopped. Sure, you'll make mistakes. Make them quicker. Make bigger ones. You'll learn faster, right? In other words, and I'm not saying throw caution to the wind, but what I'm saying is that if you want something bad enough, and you know that it is a possibility for you, just like other people have done it, or other people got the yacht or whatever you're into, well, all right then. I'll start then. Let me start. And however long the journey is, it is. But if we're willing to do whatever it takes for as long as it takes, because we know that our vision is real, okay, and it will be delivered right on schedule, and whatever that schedule is, then all we got to do is start moving. So to sort of correlate with where Glenn left off yesterday, with this just keep moving thing, or anybody ever see that movie Finding Nemo with the blue little fish, just keep swimming, just keep, and the fish character had short-term memory loss, right? He couldn't remember who are you again, right? But just that was their life plan, was just keep swimming. Maybe not a good example, but anyway, you get the idea, is that as long as we're in motion, we can see and experience the answers, which are already there. We can't do that when we're stopped. So I guess in closing, and then I'll be happy to open it up. Anybody's got some ideas on this. Where have you been stopped? Could be in any field of endeavor, right? When I say prosperity literally means doing well. Okay, so doing well with what? Health, fitness, money, business, finance, relationships, spiritual pursuit, community, involvement, kinds of stuff, right? Where have you been stopped? And where can you get unstopped by just getting off of maybe and just doing something? I'll give you one example for myself. Okay. So when I was in Arizona, which is where I've lived much of my life. Excuse me. I took up physical training. In my case, Krav Maga, Israeli contact combat, like brutal martial arts kind of stuff. And I had done it when I lived in Utah, and then I started doing it again in Arizona. And I said, you know what, I want to be consistent with this. I'm going to find, a school here in Tampa Bay where I can, continue my training with that. I like knowing, how to defend myself, my family, and all that. Plus the physical fitness aspects of that are very different than going to the gym and lifting weights, which, I can do that. And I do that. Okay. But the idea of involving myself in, that sort of a, martial arts situation with a new group of people that I don't know or trust or whatever. Typically these people are very nice, right? Nobody's trying to hurt each other, trying to teach each other to be safe and, out in this crazy freaking world. But I haven't gone. I'm busy. I mean, look, I got reasons. You guys want to hear my reasons? I got reasons, baby. I don't have results, right? I've probably forgotten everything that I learned in Phoenix, but but I was on, my wife and I meet at 9:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday for, business planning coordination. We're not only married couple, she's my business partner. And so we decided to start meeting every day at 9:30 in the morning. And it's been very productive. We're getting more done and we're getting stuff on the calendar, battle plan, do this, do that, right? It's like, yeah, this is really good. Order. Okay. And so it was yesterday, she said, all right, well, we're looking to put something on the calendar for this Facebook group. We're going to do this live broadcast thing. And I'm thinking this time, and I'm like, well, you know what? I was looking at the Krav Maga school and I was thinking that time might be when the classes are. And she was like, okay, well, what's the school? What's the website? She's on the website. Oh, you know what? They got a Groupon. Oh, look, you can get started at half price or whatever. Okay, give me your credit card. Next thing you know, I've got Krav Maga training paid for. All I got to do now is show up. Well, there's that. So much for my reasons and indecision. It's right down the street too. Well, about 10 miles down the street, which is a great opportunity for me to get on my Harley and get the hell out of the house. So, man, we're just killing excuses left and right over here. This is spectacular. The point is that the answer came because we moved. We did something. We didn't just sit there with our considerations. And so now I'm that much closer to the fulfillment of my intention, which is to be physically fit and able and trained and all that. Now I just got to go. I just got to put my ass on the bike and go and do it. Right. But we're not 100% stopped anymore. We're 5% moving, which is huge. So what is it in your life that you've been reticent to make a decision about? Where you've been preventing your own prosperity? Prosperity meaning doing well, right? Doing well with your fitness, doing well with your money, doing whatever. Who's got some thoughts on this? And you don't have to admit publicly, what you've been indecisive about, although you could, right? I don't think anybody really gives a shit. I mean, we're just having a conversation here, right? And this could be very instructive for other people. So please come on out. Who's got some thoughts on this? We got Catherine, we got Daisy, Edward, Lindsay, Lynn. Hey, Lindsay.
Hey, there's a consideration for just about everything. You could, if you want to, you can be that person. But there's been lots of things. I don't go to the gym. Do I get exercise every day? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to make it to the gym. I know this. So I may go to a class like that. That'd be cool. But out to the gym, I can do all that at home. But so they make no consideration. I just get it done one way or another. But, there's all kind of roadblocks and, I'd say whatever you want to call it, make it a preposition. Anything a squirrel can do to a tree, you can adjust, autocorrect, and get back on track. But yeah, there's lots of things I'm working on. Whether it's resistance with people, communication skills, but you have to move. You just have to keep going. Yeah, that stopped me many times.
Mm-hmm.
But
was there some specific area or category that?
Yeah, with just trying to be the person that's communicating what the offer is,
So like sales?
Yeah, sales.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I could tell you're not stopped with that because I know you and I know that, yeah. So, but there are people, this is interesting. There are people who practice work avoidance. Let's say they're in like an actual sales position or something where the phone weighs 3 tons and they're like scared of their clients or something. What? I mean, so you need to man your post, right? And so if there's a lot of resistance to that, I mean, how does that come across? That's rough. That's really, they're probably in the wrong post, right? If that's the case.
Yeah.
So no, you're moving with that. You're doing it.
Right. I have been there with that phone weighs that a lot, and it's like, okay, do it. It's like, what are they going to do? I mean, honestly, you're going to take the phone, or they're going to punch you? I mean,
yeah,
they're not. It's not that big of a deal. They're not going to be still talking about you at dinner tonight. If they are, be proud because you made some kind of impression. But yeah,
I'm going to be talking about you at dinner tonight, Lindsay.
Made some kind of impression. And I do carry my gold card in the back of my phone case. So
cool.
And I read it.
Very good. Very good. All right. Hey, I see Catherine's got a hot mic, and then I think Lynn just put her hand up. Hey, Catherine, what you got?
Yeah, what kept popping into my head when you were talking was just to be convicted of your own prosperity.
Mm-hmm.
Just have that image there in your head and just keep it there. And I've been working, still so much on that, but you have to remind yourself of that constantly because you forget, you get caught up in the day-to-day stuff and you just kind of lose sight of your goals if you're not keeping it there forefront constantly. And that's why I've got the silly picture here behind me I've been teasing my husband that this is our next house. It's a ceramic dome that they've just prototyped, and it's going to be a couple years before it's in production. So I'm like, okay, that gives me a couple years to be ready, and then I'm going to have a new house.
That's cool. Now, does it have, and I'm sorry to park on this, but does it have rooms or is it just like one big orb or something?
You can connect them. You can build rooms within them because they've got different size ones. You can look them up. It's called GeoShip, GEO ship. And like some of them are silver. I think the first prototype is kind of the silver. It looks like a spaceship. It's really cool looking. But they're supposed to last like 500 years. They're fireproof, mold proof, bug proof, all this stuff. And they're supposed to be eco-friendly. So I was like, hey, how cool is that?
Yeah, well, that dome shape is very efficient, right, in terms of air circulation or whatever. That's why I was wondering if there's such a thing as rooms, or would that like defeat the purpose, because you got walls. I don't know. So you obviously really don't have an attic with that, so I don't know where you store your stuff. I guess hang it from the tree or something. Okay, very good. Different strokes. Love you, Catherine. Glad you're here. Hey, where's my crazy Australian friend who never sleeps? Where is she? She's somewhere. Where's Lynn?
Right, me.
There she is.
Well, I've actually been wanting to work out in the gym, and I can't afford it. And it's sort of like, and at the same time, things with my shop have been stuck, which I think I've got fixed today. I've got a next couple of days or so, but I've had a sort of a little paradigm shift, which only a little one, but it's a paradigm shift. And so that I think is starting to move on, which means I can sort of I've got over the first little gorse shrub bush on the heights to actually getting the shop up and running so I can afford to get to the gym. So it's kind of like, it's a very baby step, but it's like, okay, now it's starting to do what I actually was setting it up to do. So yeah, it's it's starting to be able to work, I think.
Mm-hmm. Well, Lynn, if I could personally assist you with some of that, maybe we should have some one-on-one time, because I think you're awesome, and I think you deserve to live that prosperous life. And so any of these circumstances that you've gotten through, I think, and that you are getting through, are things that you can also kind of put in your validation tank here. Just like when you said you dropped 100% or 50% body weight. Right?
50, yeah.
Right.
100
So
would be a bit, yeah.
right. So yeah, you weigh 100% less than you did. Right. So or 50% less.
I'm half. Yeah.
Right. So I like there was two of her. She lost 100% of her current body. That's the one I was looking for. Yes. So something like that is profound, right? I mean, weaklings and indecisive people don't do stuff like that. So let me validate you and say, wow, holy crap, Len, you are a force to be reckoned with. You're welcome. So anyway, maybe at some point this weekend or something, we can have a few minutes together, but I'd love to, maybe look into some of the stuff that you got going on. Just because you're awesome and you're a member here. So it's that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Right. Who else? Any other thoughts? I know we got an intimate crowd here today. And if you're seeing this on YouTube, go to jlsuccessmastermind.com, grab yourself a trial membership. Guaranteed you're going to love it. Lynn's one of our newest members here as well. Any other thoughts on being in our own way or how we can assist others in getting out of their own way? Any other thoughts on that? No? Okay. Well, then what we'll do is we will wrap up with that. I'm going to be here with you twice tomorrow for our general session, as well as our Be Heard end of week extravaganza, which is always a good time. Lynn, if you can make it to that, that would be a good time for us to also just, kind of air things out and talk about whatever you want. So that's on the calendar for a reason. And then what else? Keep reading You Were Born Rich by Bob Proctor. We're going to cover 3 more chapters this week. Books for Britain, which happened yesterday. They just completed that book. So there are, in our member site, there are recordings of the British review of that. Now we're doing our American review of it. Usually we kind of do it together, but we did it separately this time. So, but great stuff. Great reminders in that book as well. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up with that. Great to see you all. Make it a great day. You totally deserve it. And I'll see you back here